The top story today is a big question that every man should ask himself before essentially uninstalling all of the mainstream dating apps, which was asked of the new Tinder CEO when he went on CNBC and was asked that question. Let's see what happened.
There's a loneliness epidemic and a mental health crisis globally, and it's driven by the fact that people don't have human connection. And I took this job because Match Group is one of the only companies globally that can make a dent in it. And it's important work, and I'm having a great time.
It's important work. Okay, so sometimes human interaction can cause the mental issues, can it not? Does it always help?
Yeah.
So you have a portfolio of dating apps.
And as you can see, they immediately moved on when the most important question was asked. The CEO didn't bother answering, and as you can see on the look of this guy's face, he was like, oh my God, we better move on. Because the truth is if you honestly answer that question, every man would have to uninstall the dating app that they have, including Tinder and Bumble and Hinge and OkCupid, because there's absolutely nothing there for men nowadays in the Western countries. Because let's be honest, the only thing that dating apps do nowadays is traffic men in exchange for two drugs that women are now addicted to. One is obviously money, and number two is attention and validation, the new drugs that they absolutely love. And these dating apps, all they do is that. And very recently, a few weeks ago, as you can see, the Match Group, that's what this guy represents, had to pay $14 million to FTC because they were tricking men mainly into paying money for this service. And there is no product out there where you have to be tricked in paying for it if the product is good. So think about it. These dating apps, again, are not only useless to you because they are only there for benefits of the women. They're essentially most likely damaging the mental health of a lot of men, because a lot of men are not prepared for what's happening. Just like the guy that I featured yesterday in the Simp of the Week segment. You know, he was a nice guy. He was trying to be a gentleman, and he met this girl on the dating app, and then he ended up driving an hour and a half to meet her for some reason and buy her dinner just for her to essentially walk out on a date after getting the free dinner, and he had to pay for it. And apparently he drove an hour and a half, and she just was right in her neighborhood. This happens all the time, and a lot of men don't really know what's happening anymore. And these dating apps essentially they're essentially pimps. How many profiles that I review here on this on this show every day, and we'll have one more today again, that essentially you can tell that the girl is not looking for a relationship. Not that was a secret. There was a study done very recently that at least half of the women, the reason why they get on the dating apps is to get attention and validation, and of course that includes money. That's just how the world is now. And don't get it twisted. Yeah, dating apps is not where you should be using unless you're like super duper handsome guy who can just don't be fooled. It's not like you get off the dating apps and the world is wonderful in America or in other Western countries. It is not. This is why I left America and came to Southeast Asia, and there's also South America. And don't get me wrong, things are not 100% amazing here. You still have to fight through a lot of similar things. It's just there are still some women here who are traditional and family oriented and so forth, where you guys ran out of that. That model has been discontinued in America. So please, I know it's really easy for you to think and swipe, but at the end of the day, please understand that these dating apps are damaging your mental health, because what's happening on there, right, is where you match with a girl, a lot of times not even that good looking of a girl, right? And you try to stretch your standards if you have any. A lot of guys don't even have any. And then you end up being taken advantage of. And a lot of men get stood up. A lot of men end up paying money for a girl to just to walk away. That has a horrible effect on these men, because they essentially they think they're being rejected as men, but they were never going to be accepted into a possible relationship or a hookup. This is all for women to get validation. This is why there's so many rules that I suggest that you guys have. For example, don't talk to a girl for more than 48 hours. Here in Thailand, because women are a little bit more conservative, I stretch it to 72 hours. If a girl doesn't want to meet you within 48 hours, she's busy or it's too far and she's not, move on. She's not that interested. A girl who sees you as a good man would be happy to drop everything she's doing and go and meet you, especially if it's in a public place in the evening or an afternoon or whatever. Absolutely no reason for that. Same reason I suggest if you're going to meet a girl, don't meet her for dinner. Absolutely a $10 budget. Just buy a coffee or drink and that's fine. And that is it. So don't drive to women where they just, have to walk to the restaurant. Don't allow that. If you are the prize, you are the prize. If you're not, you need to work on yourself, but you should be the prize and the woman should see that. And your time should be so much more valuable since you're the one using your time to earn the money to provide, right? Including the $10 drink. You're still spending money on a stranger, and on and on and on. That's why there's so many rules, and they are not necessarily because you met a girl online. This just goes for everything. Let me take a few questions from the audience. Camel says dating apps in the West are waste of time. Well, they're not only waste of time, they are damaging your mental health at this point. No man is feeling better after most of the dates that they get or most of the connections that they get, right? It's just no longer a thing. It used to be the best thing ever, right? If when you match with a girl, talk to her, you could be assured that she's genuinely interested in you and trying to find out more about you and meet you for a possible relationship or a hookup or whatever, that the intentions were clear and reasonable. That's no longer the case. That's why you have to erase these apps with an exception of some niche apps. Sean says, date accountants were straightforward people. Listen, if you're a good man, it's really not that hard to be a good man, right? It's not that hard. You should be able to earn enough money to provide for a family. Not talking about Mercedes and house in Hollywood Hills. No, just talking about the regular place, regular car, meals, all of that stuff. And there are plenty of good men out there. Don't have any bad habits. Treat women and people well around you. Try to be educated and worldly, and really that is it. Those men, unfortunately, are not that easy to find for women, and because a lot of them either stop dating altogether because they don't want to put up with this shit, switch to the hey, I'm just gonna get some, whether for money or free or whatever, and just be done. I'm not looking for an actual relationship. And there are men like me who said, fuck all of this. I'm out of here. I'd rather go to the country like Thailand where, this is a much more pleasant experience, even when you get rejected by these women. I live in Canada 6 months, Mexico 6 months. Dating apps in Canada, US is 95% overweight women or single mothers. Mexico, tons of gorgeous women. Lesson: leave the West. Yeah, I mean, you learn that lesson as soon as you land in another country, right? And this is what I teach in my course at themillionmanproject.com. I essentially say, listen, just come here for 2 or 3 weeks just to see what the life is like. And the first thing you're going to learn is then when you turn your dating app on at the airport, you will have dozens, if not hundreds of likes and matches already. Now, I'm not saying that all of these women are wonderful and beautiful. There's a lot of caveats here, and a lot of guys fall victim to that because we have Americanized women here as well, and they're just as good, if not better, than American women of taking money, taking advantage of these simps who are not prepared for that, who come here. And it goes for all of these countries. But yeah, the contrast is absolutely just, and it's not just overweight women, right? I mean, we obviously, most women here in Southeast Asia are pretty skinny, but then we're talking about like, oh, I kind of wish I was a little overweight because there's nothing on the back. So, I mean, that's a matter of taste. We're not even talking about looks. We're talking about just the quality of women, their willingness to meet a man and be in a relationship and be in a family and be submissive and all of those things that, Western women are just not able to do anymore. That's what I'm really talking about. And this is why it's very, very important to understand that these dating apps are just need to go.
If you want to ditch modern women and move abroad for more traditional relationships, go to themillionmanproject.com, take my most comprehensive course, and change your life.